Welcome to the Haaland podcast. Today we are talking about the Man City away game that has literally just finished. Andrew, you predicted 1-1. Um, Wrong goal scorer, but you got the 1-1. How are you feeling about that 1-1 now after watching the game?
I'm surprised it wasn't more, but I think a draw overall is probably the most justifiable result. I think City did have the lion's share of possession.
They're buckets of chances, mate. Buckets.
Well, I don't think they had that many in the first half, really. And I think second half we weren't really. They just had all of the ball and we looked dangerous on the counter when we got it. But there weren't a lot that almost went in. And they only had three shots on target up to like the 80th minute or something. Um,
I mean, Haaland had some
Haaland missed a few
chances.
good chances that you're surprised that he missed. But I
I
think
mean, not even on
Jackson should have
target.
scored.
Say again.
I think Jackson should have scored in the first half. Um,
Was that a poor ball by Gusto, or was that Jackson or was that down to Jackson? Because I've
I
had
think
I've had a few people say both.
I think Jackson overrun it. I think the ball was fine. I think Jackson overran.
I personally don't even think it was about overrunning. I think it was a poor lack of quality in the final third again.
Well, I think he had to take a touch because he overran the ball, and then Edison did well to smother it and get out quickly. Um,
Oh, I thought he could have
well,
struck it first time, if I'm honest.
yes, but if he had a different body position because he didn't overrun the ball.
Fair enough.
I think we invited the pressure onto ourselves towards the end when we had taken Jackson and Sterling off
Yeah.
because we didn't really have that threat afterwards. And Kunku wasn't doing the same runs and causing us much trouble. And obviously we put five defenders on, so we kind of played into their hands of they're going to have a lot of the ball, and hopefully we can stem the tide. And it did feel like it was coming for a while that they would get a goal. It was just hoping that time ran out for them before they actually got it.
Yeah, they brought on a little statistic that we've conceded 13 goals. I think we're like the third, not the third lowest team to score the most amount to concede the most amount of goals between the 76th minute and like the 90th minute. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, fuck.
Makes sense though. Like we do concede a lot of late goals.
We do, we do. I too was surprised by the substitutes towards the end. Like I could understand bringing on Trevor Chalobah.
Mhm.
Um, and to be fair, like first appearance of the season, everyone said there was a rumor saying that he would never play for us again. It was so good to see him, and actually, to be fair, I don't think he had a bad game apart from the deflection. But sometimes there's nothing you can really do about those. Um, I thought Cassadai was a weird one in terms of who they brought off for Cassadai, and you're right, it left us weak at the top. Um, and for that reason, I thought it was a weird decision. And the thing that got me the most was we just brought on Cassadai, and he's come on and he's told Connor something, and Connor had been on Rodri all game, and he didn't really give him room to breathe, and all of a
Mm.
sudden it's like, was Connor on Rodri at that time, or was he then running to the place that he was supposed to be, and then no one was on Rodri, and Rodri scores, and I'm just like, oh no, like that for me was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. But you are right. I think a draw is fair. I think a draw is fair. Um, Overall, the Chelsea performance, though, how are you feeling about it?
I think we did what we had to do. We played in a way that we had to play against City. I think against most teams in the league, we'll have more of the ball. I think Liverpool, City, maybe Arsenal are ones where you go, we probably have to sort of try and catch them on the break here. We're not winning that midfield battle pretty cleanly every time. Although Newcastle showed that they can match us, but I think we had to sit back and almost let them have the ball and try and counter attack them, which I think we did very well. I think Gusto was incredible. I think Jackson, that was his best performance for Chelsea, in my opinion. Albeit in front of goal wasn't particularly solid. But I think in terms of holding the ball up, not losing it, not giving it away,
Oh no, I
like
disagree.
healing it, I
I
think it was.
disagree. Carry on, but I'm just saying I disagree. Carry on with your thing, but I have to put it in there that I disagree. I didn't want to interrupt, but I disagree. Carry on.
But you did want to interrupt because you did interrupt, and you could have
Well,
waited
I
till I
just felt
finished
like it
speaking
needed
to.
to be said. It needed to be said, but by all means, please carry on. We can circle
No,
back.
no, no. Why do you think that he was rubbish?
I didn't say that. I did not say that. I said I disagree with the fact that you thought his hold up play was good. I don't think it was good, especially in the first half. I thought he was awful.
I don't know what game you're watching. Okay. Um, well, I mean, just purely from the goal where he's backheeled it.
That's about all he can do for
Um,
me. He likes a back heel, and it's a great back heel onto Cole Palmer. Um, I'll admit that absolutely. Um, no, hang on, I'm thinking of the wrong player. Oh, no.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the one that then led to Gusto's. No, no. Anyway, the cross was good.
There you
I
go.
thought the cross was good.
But
Sterling's poor touch. Somehow he managed to save it. But I don't. I did feel a little bit sorry for him that Enzo took that shot, and I can understand why
mm,
he's upset. But at the same time, I wouldn't have put my money on him doing anything decent with the ball had he had it, and Enzo didn't take
we're
it.
offside anyway, so it doesn't.
True. I don't think his hold up play is that good, to be honest. I think he's weak. Um,
I think that was his best hold-up play for us.
Fair enough.
Significantly
If you think it's the best,
against a
I
very
still
good
don't think it's
defender.
good enough. But
Well, fine.
you know,
You're entitled to your opinion.
I am. Yeah.
I don't hear you coming up with examples of where his hold-up play was not good enough.
Well, I
That
can't.
game.
Well, he kept losing the ball
When?
in the first half. He lost the ball so many times because he's weak. He's so weak on the ball. Like he doesn't want to actually hold up the ball. He wants to try and be too clever, in my opinion. And I don't think he's got the. He loves that back heel, and when it works, it's great. It looks amazing. But too often, I feel like he's trying to be a bit too clever, and it's like, no, just get your body in the way and literally hold up the ball until somebody comes and you can do something with it. Um, but yeah, I
Wonderful examples, thank you. Um, Against two of the best centre backs in the league.
no, I'll give you that. But even then, it was the midfield, it was the fullbacks. He, I think he loses the ball too much, to be honest. I think Poch is right. I think his best position is on the wing when he's got people in front of him. When he's got his back to people, he's got. I don't think he's got an awful lot, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I think he loses the ball too much, and he's too weak on the ball.
What are your thoughts on the game, Matthew?
I thought overall it's a really good performance. If I'm brutally honest, like I said, there's a couple of people that I'm like Jackson's one of them. I'm disappointed with Nkuku when he came on. To be fair, there wasn't a lot of service to him by that point, but he was offside a lot, some poor touches, which I didn't expect. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know Sterling got the goal and he did run at people, but again, just like his first touch, almost 50% of the time is a bit dodgy. He got away with it for the goal. I mean, Kyle Walker still nearly got a foot to it, like he just got a foot to it. Um, but overall, I thought Dizazi was incredible today. I thought the whole defense was incredible. They looked so calm.
Mm.
You know, there's been games where we played lesser teams that have had periods, not entirely like entire half, shall we say, but periods of a game where they are relentless on the ball, and we've looked worried. Like we
Mm.
don't know what we're doing. We've been out of position, and the biggest thing that I took from that game was how calm we looked in defense. Like just knowing, and even with Haaland's little tricks, he kept trying to do that same thing he did against Cucurella in the first game
Mm.
at the bridge. He did that against Chile. He did it against Colwill. He was trying everything in the book. He was blocking people when the ball was, going to go over the top to the wide man, to Foden or Bernardo Silva when he was in that position, maybe even a De Bruyne later on. And we just didn't fall for any of it. We didn't fall for any of it. We stayed calm. And what also I loved was we actually went to them. We didn't give them as much space as I felt that we've given other teams in other games where I felt we could have got a little bit closer. Doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to jump into a tackle or make a challenge, but we got close enough where you can stick a leg out and you can get a block. You can make it difficult for the defender. I thought we made it really, really difficult for the entire game. I thought we were physical. I thought, yeah, like you said, we were good on the counter attack. Gusto was good at the back, going forward. Even as a right wing in the second half when we brought on Trevor. I love Trevor's movement in the box as defender. He's constantly looking where his body's position is and like where the line is. His movement, he reads the game so well. I mean, I hope to see that he gets a few more minutes at some point. And it's not just like a little cameo because of the defense situation that we're in. I thought the midfield did well. You know that little trio that's been building over the season. Connor was outstanding again today. He pressed, he tackled, he played a multiple bits of positions. I thought he got forward. He ran well with the ball. Can't fault him. Maybe a little bit more from Enzo would have been nice, but overall, I think with the game that it was and the way it played, I thought he did well. Caicedo ran his luck a little bit with some challenges. And then Palmer was good. I can understand why he came off with the yellow card. And yeah, I overall and Petrovic as well. I don't think he's put a foot wrong since he's come into the team, if I'm brutally honest. And he's looking more and more solid. I know we had a little conversation the other day about the best signings that we've made under the Bowley era, with number one being Palmer, number two being Gusto, and I said three Enzo. But I tell you what, I think Petrovic is knocking on the door for the third spot. He's easily in the talks. Um, I thought it was a really positive performance. And I don't feel too disheartened by the draw because they really did bombard us in the second half. Um, yeah, I mean,
I think I think going back to what you said on Enzo, I think defensively it was probably one of his better performances for us.
yes, and I
He made
think
a lot of crucial things in the box
yes,
and was getting back, which I think has been something that he hasn't done a hell of a lot of. And I think in certain games it won't he won't be told that that's part of his job.
no,
I think
exactly.
I think what worked well for us, and I think it seems to work well for us in games, is when the other team has a lot of the ball and we're further back. When we really struggle defensively is when it's sort of a 3-on-3 and they're countering us,
Mm.
and then we really struggle in those situations. But even when we didn't have a lot of players back, we managed to deal with them quite well. Gusto did a fantastic job against Doku and at least holding him up at times to allow players to get back. Um, and yeah, defensively, I think we were pretty solid. Man City can just thunderbolt one, and that's what they did, and got their goal.
Well, you always just on that quickly. They've got a lot of players that can score a goal from any position.
Mm,
Realistically, like even Carl Walker had a quite a long range shot at one point towards the end of the game, and you're going, he could have scored.
mm,
That is one of their biggest threats. Um, but overall, like we kept them at bay for a very long time, especially for that second half. And you always felt like that was going to come. That goal could come.
mm.
We would have had to been very lucky with the amount of shots that they had, the amount of chances, and I mean, I personally thought Haaland was going to get one at one point. I was like, all these ones he's just missed and not quite been Haaland-esque on.
Mm.
I didn't even think about Rodri, to be fair, until he struck it. I was like, you bastard.
He likes those
He
from that
does, and
specific area. It's just...
but I think overall there's so many positives to take away from that. No one would have had us winning that game. And I think the only way that we would have done better in terms of riding out that game is if we've been a little bit more clinical in the first half and got two in the first half, which I think was possible. And maybe say one or two in the second. I do think we should have gone up two. We should have had two goals in the first half, not 2-0. But we should have got two goals in the first half. But I think overall, I don't think you can complain about that performance.
No, like I said, we went out and we did what we had to do against a team away from home that are a well-oiled machine and are very organised in both attack and defence. It's a very, very difficult team to play against. And yeah, we are looking like we're finding some form. It looks we've had a few weeks of only like one player getting injured or something, so that we can kind of keep the team pretty stable for the last month or two. I think that's helped us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we had two injuries in the last game, so supposedly, in the sense that we weren't sure about Gusto. But that got quickly, flattened and was like, no, he's fine. It was just a precaution, which I was very glad about. I think we would have struggled without Gusto in that game, to be honest.
Yeah. It's nice to see that Dizazi's not a complete waste of money. There is a player there somewhere, which I haven't heard about this season.
Blown away by it. Like even that clearance off the goal line where it's come off Jackson. And he's like the only player there, and he's so alert. He was bang on it today. I think there's something about that Palace game where he's got. I think he's fueled a bit of fire from celebrating with the fans. It's gone well down over social media and stuff. The fans really appreciated it, and I mean that performance. I think is just.
I thought he had a good game against Palace as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, today he really shone. Today, everything came near him. And he just dealt with it.
Yeah.
And there was one mistake. He made one mistake, and I'm saying that more as out of all the chances, out of all the defensiveness, out of all the blocks, everything, he made one mistake from a pass.
He took his eye off it and it went out for a throw in. And
I'm more than happy to say that. But this is a guy that we've been critical of. This is a guy that we've gone, oh, and then no, sure, unbelievable performance. And going into Liverpool next week, who I believe have a game midweek, and we don't, you feel a bit more hopeful now after the last 2, 3 performances.
3 games, yeah.
3 games, yeah. Aston Villa,
3-1, and then
Palace, and now this, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think more confident than I was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, when we were just getting drummed by teams, one of them being Liverpool.
Just quickly, going back to the Enzo thing, I completely agree with you about your comments on Enzo. Like, I don't think he could get forward as much as we've seen it. There were moments, but I think that since we played that Aston Villa game and he was a lot more, flatter with Caicedo, keeping a nice distance. It's worked wonders, and I think he's done well in that position. Since he's had to go sort of a bit more further back for him, he's lasting the 90 minutes as well. There are times where he gets forward, he can still do his long balls, but I think because of the quality of team that we were playing against and the fact that they had easily 65% plus of the ball, near 70% of the ball. Yeah, that's to be expected, I think.
There weren't that many players for us that were getting forward. He's not the quickest player that we've got, so
no, but I think he's improved on it. I think he's improved on his all-round, movement around the pitch and his fitness. To be fair, because mate, remember there was at one point where he was lasting 66 minutes max. He's now lasting 90 minutes, and he's looking like comfortably 90 minutes.
Yeah, I do think now looking back, the hernia. He apparently had a hernia situation. I think that would take a lot out of him.
And we don't know how long that went on for.
No, we kind of heard about it afterwards that he was struggling with one for a while, and you go, okay, that makes a lot of sense now that he's coming off half time, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good performance. Can't complain at all. I think the effort was there, and I think as long as the effort's there and the heads don't go down, the heads didn't go down when they scored. Um, so yeah, all positives, I think.
Just a quick one. Um, the Kyle Walker penalty appeal.
I think there are a few appeals and situations where
Oh,
it
and the
could
Colwell handball at the end.
it could have gone badly for us, and more often than not, they do seem to go against us. I think the Kyle Walker one, if Kyle Walker touches the ball, I think my opinion of it changes. But effectively, he's not actually got anywhere near the ball, and the only part of his body that's in front of Raheem Sterling is his foot, which for me then is a trip on Raheem Sterling. If Walker touches the ball, gets there first, then there's an argument to say, well, Kyle Walker was in possession of the ball, and therefore it's a pen because there's contact. Kyle Walker had the ball and it's a foul. I think that would have been a very harsh penalty decision because I don't think Kyle Walker's doing much else other than kicking it out of play.
No, he's absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The only thing that is in front of Sterling is his foot. He actually like gets his shoulder and pushes Sterling from the back as well.
Mm.
Like that's the funny thing is you're making out that you've been kicked, but actually all you've done is you've put your foot in. You have got nowhere near the ball. He's nowhere near that ball, and you've also pushed Sterling over from behind.
Mm.
I mean, I thought, it's clearly cheating. He's used to it. Ask his missus. And then the Colwell one, it's just that one. And then the Colwell one, I would have been really, really upset if that had been given because the ball literally just sort of drops on his hand. If anything, I thought he'd get done for holding on to the player, if I'm brutally honest, rather than a handball at that point from the footage.
Well, the City players seem to be doing something with their arm like this, and I
Yeah, I didn't
didn't
get
really
that Diaz was
understand what
doing
that
that.
was
Yeah.
from. But it kind of like rolled down his arm, and then it's almost like, yeah, he does kind of move his arm, and it impacts where the ball is, but it's pretty difficult to move
Yeah.
without
100%.
moving your arm at all. And if the ball's already like touching your arm, it's not like he's initiated contact to try and move his arm to the ball to initiate contact. He's
No, but
just moving.
as soon as he moves, no matter what direction he moves,
Hmm.
that ball is moving from his hand.
Yeah.
He can run away from goal, towards goal, to the side, because of where it's situated, and it's also stuck between him and another player.
Hmm.
But because his hand is underneath it, as soon as he moves in any direction, that ball is moving at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair.
And Jamie Carragher was making a lot of Caicedo challenge when Doku was on the floor.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, he does kick it quite hard, but he's trying to kick it through his legs to go backwards. So
Yeah, and I don't think he studs him afterwards. He just
no,
comes
I
out
don't think he
the
studs him
ball
afterwards.
and
No,
stands on him. So I was a
I've
bit
seen worse in
confused
that
by
position.
that.
I've seen worse in that position. Put it that way.
Yeah, there was no force down on his leg, and what was he supposed to do? Let Doku have the ball and just get up?
Well, he stopped. Like he stopped because he already thinks he's been fouled. Like he's
Hmm.
not trying to carry on play the ball. He's not. He's not moving. He's literally lying there looking at the ref, appealing,
Hmm.
expecting the free kick. And Caicedo's done the right thing. He's played to the whistle. He's gone in fairly strong to make sure he gets the ball, but he gets the ball. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't, like you said, he doesn't study him. He doesn't tread on him. I've seen players do a lot worse there, where they've got clearly got the ball and then they've done afters. Deliberately you can tell they've done afters. But I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any decisions that I was upset that we didn't get for once.
I think Aki put in a very theatrical performance and was throwing himself all over the place and was lucky to escape a card at one point.
Was that against Colwell again?
No, he was running down the. It was probably against Gusto. I don't think there was any contact, and he's just thrown himself to the floor. And if there was, it was like shoulders, and he's just like gone down like he's been tripped. and he got a free kick for it. And I thought there was one where he got a free kick for, and there was one where he threw himself to the floor, and I don't think there was any contact, and the ref just kind of let play go on and didn't go back and book him. But
Well,
I thought he had some,
De Bruyne appealed as well, didn't he, outside the box? I can't remember who the challenge was, but it was literally just a hand to the chest. I didn't see any collision of legs at all.
that was the challenge on De Bruyne. I think was a hand,
Yeah, but I can't remember who did it. I can't remember who the player was.
probably Caicedo.
I honestly can't remember. But
Yeah,
that
and he went down holding his leg, and it was just like,
yeah. But again, that for me is that I take that as a positive because it just shows you how rattled City were. I think City got quite frustrated. Like Haaland annoyed is not the person that you want to play because he's like, right, I'm up for it.
mm,
He went beyond that today. You know, he pushed Azazi over on the touchline when it was him and somebody else going for the ball, and Azazi did really well holding the ball up. We got under their skin today. We really did. They were trying everything they possibly could all over the pitch to gain some momentum or extra advantage or whatever it was. And I think we did really well. I really do. I don't think there was anything horrific with the yellow cards. I mean, Palmer got one, I think, for kicking the ball away slightly just to stop them doing a quick free kick.
yeah.
Caicedo, I can't remember what Caicedo got yellow card for, and people said he was lucky not to get another one, and obviously he would have then missed the League Cup final. And to be fair, on
I
another
don't
day,
think the challenge that he did was a yellow card challenge that he got
fair,
a yellow card for. I think he had put in a few challenges that were edging towards it,
yeah,
and the sum total of them was a yellow.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, it's a bit disingenuous to say he could have gone off because I don't think any of the challenges that he did were definite yellows. I think
that's
it was
fair.
the accumulation of them that got me yellow.
And Petrovic got a yellow card for
Time wasting.
time wasting. And to be fair, I'll take that in that game. The amount that we've had go against us and nothing's been done, so I'll take it.
Well, I'd just love to see that at the bridge at some
Yeah,
point. That'd be nice.
yeah,
60th minute booking for time wasting for a goalkeeper.
I know.
Uh, Obviously on TV you don't see how many waves Petrovic gets, but Jesus, the amount you were sitting at Stamford Bridge seeing 9 waves in the first half, and the bloke comes out, still doesn't the second half, and doesn't get booked until the 80th minute, and you're like, what is the point? So
Yeah. And to be fair, at half time, he spoke to the ref because I think they actually started doing it. So one of the defenders was going to do his goal kicks or something because you
right,
see him in the tunnel speaking to the referee.
mm,
And the commentator made a comment, obviously, being like we had a defender taking the goal kicks, but I missed who it was. So I think I was busy at the time because it was quite early on. And I was like, oh, you see, he's already told the ref. Like he's clearly that's probably what he's already told the ref. Like,
mm.
you know, but yeah, it didn't last very long because then he booked him and then we stopped doing that. So who was your man of the match? Because I'm not being funny. I actually think that there's a fair few to choose from today. I know we haven't really mentioned Chile, but I thought Chile had a good game. I thought it's the best game he's had since he's come back from injury. There's
Yeah,
been a
he
few
played
games
well.
where I've been a bit like, Chile, I don't know, mate. He had a good that first game was good, and then the few after that I was like, and today I thought he was back to his best.
For me, it's the obvious one for me is Dizazi
Fair.
because I think he was outrageously good, partially because credit where credit's due when we've bashed him quite a lot this
No,
season, and
and
he's had a
that's
great
why I've
game.
been one of his biggest critics, and that's
Yeah,
exactly why I was like, he's been incredible today, absolutely incredible.
I think Jackson's in the conversation for me for his involvement in the goal, and I think for me he had a good performance and did hold the ball up relatively well against. Bear in mind he's up on his own a lot of the time against multiple City players, and he's done well in a number of occasions to keep hold of it for us and start us on counter attacks. I think the chances that we had were a big part. Jackson doing something for me. I think Connor did well. I think the whole midfield deserves a shout. I think they were all incredible. But for me, it's
I agree. The three midfielders are 100% all in the shout
mm,
easily. I think Connor was a standout one again. Sound bias. He has a different role to the other two. but all three of them are easily in the shout because they didn't do anything wrong. They did their jobs perfectly. So who?
Who's going for?
No, no. I asked you first. Who's your three then?
Dizazi. I've said it 4 times that it's Dizazi.
Oh, right. Last time I heard, like, yeah, fair enough. No, do you know what? I have to agree. Like, I personally was going to go for Connor again. You know, I was watching that game, and the two biggest ones for me were Connor and Dizazi, if I'm brutally honest. And then after that, it was Gusto and Petrovic on equal thing, and I'll probably throw Chilwell in there as well. I thought Chilwell's defense in the box, even with the high balls, like he was, he was just strong. Like he
Mm.
didn't back down. He didn't throw his arms around against a big guy. Like I said, it overall, I think that's probably one of the best performances we've had. I know it's only a draw, but away from home at City against the quadruple champions, yeah, I got no complaints
I
about
think
it.
they're on like a 10-game winning streak or something as well.
Yeah, they are. They're just
Well, they haven't
they're
lost
doing their job, and
13 or
this
something.
is the point where City don't drop points.
Yeah.
Normally, this is where they go, right, we're going to turn it on and we're just going to do what we do.
Mm.
So for us to do that, out of all teams, I think is really impressive, especially as I saw I saw after the Palace game, our average age as a squad.
Mm.
And with everybody, it's 24 years and however many days. The Palace team, hang on, let me find it because I thought it was really interesting. I honestly thought it was really interesting. And I wish I had it earlier on to discuss for the Palace one. Here we go. So we are second overall squads. This is in Premier League. We are second with the youngest team,
Right.
which is 24 years and 326 days. Burnley beat us. I mean, to be fair, Arsenal and Tottenham are next after that, but they are 25 years respectively, and then the days.
Yeah.
But those squads have been together a lot longer as well.
Yeah.
Our youngest team that we have played is 23 years and 21 days. And that's because it was against Palace and we didn't have Thiago Silva.
Yeah. I think it does drop by 2 years if you don't start Sterling and Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
It probably drops by 2 years and we're at 21, like low 22s, late 21s, because most of our team is 21 and below. It's
No,
only really
exactly. And that's it. We didn't start
Dizazi, I think
Thiago,
Petrovic is 24.
but Sterling was on the bench. So I don't know whether that counts or not. But
He'll be starting 11 probably.
yeah. So do you know what? I do feel like I do feel like you can see improvement now from where we were, you know, from the beginning of the season. There's been clear improvement. Um, I know it's not this episode, but just quickly, how are you feeling going into the League Cup final now?
Now in the final, I want to win it just so we've won something.
After all that,
If we're gonna play the fucking game, we might as well win it, right? The whole point I wanted to be out of the cup.
all these extra games
Yeah,
means
well, we're
nothing.
playing all the
It's a
fucking games
shit
now, so we
cup.
might as well
Well, do you
win
know
the
what?
fucking
Now
thing.
that we're in it, we might as well. Oh, I want us to win it. Yeah.
Well, my main point is it's just additional games, and I don't particularly care about winning it. And I'd rather us not play the games and have more time on the training pitch. But we've got to the fucking final now, so we're playing all the games. We might as well fucking win it now. Pointless. Pointless getting all the way to the final, play all those extra games, and then just lose to Liverpool in the final. So we might as well fucking go out and try and win.
I'm not gonna ask you if you think we can win. We'll say that for the next episode. But compared to where we were a few, a month ago, call it a month ago, to now, feeling a bit different, feeling a bit better.
I'd say I'm probably in a pretty similar place, actually.
Interesting.
Because I think going into that Liverpool game, I wasn't particularly worried. I think we were on relatively good form and we were doing all right. I think we had a good Christmas period. Start of Jan was fine. And then we got hammered by Liverpool, and then we got hammered by Wolves. And it was the Wolves one. You're like, fuck, we're you can have a shit game against Liverpool and they can just do you, and you're like,
That's fair. That's fair.
but
That's fair.
losing by that much to Wolves and looking that toothless, it was just like, no, we're in for a long season now. And it does feel like we've turned it around a little bit. And a good performance against City and doing what we had to do and showing some resilience that I think was lacking. And the reactions, I think, during the games against Liverpool and Wolves in terms of heads looked like they went down immediately and like issues.
I like that word you use, resilience. Like for me as well, I think we had a bit more. Resilience is definitely one of them. Backbone. I think we had a bit more backbone. And I think we were smarter today as well. Just very much switched on.
Mm.
Carry on.
That's it.
That's it.
I don't know what we're talking about now.
Fair enough. In that case, then, is there anything else that you want to add to this game? Anybody we haven't mentioned? Anything at all?
No, I think everyone did well.
Fair play. Right. It was 1-1 in the end. Andrew got the score prediction right. And on another day, it could have been 4-4 again. On another day, one of us could have pipped it, but it's a draw. We'll take it. I think most of us would have bitten our hands off for that result at the beginning of the game. So yeah, fair play. And stay tuned for the pre-game analysis for Liverpool at Wembley in the League Cup final next weekend. As always, like, share, subscribe, follow, comment, and thank you all for watching.